Today on the CTV News at 5, unrest continues to grow in the Crow's Nest Pass over the firing of Blairmore's fire chief. Plus, food safety inspectors spend the day combing through the XL beef plant in Brooks. And how you can have your say on how the province should spend taxpayers' dollars.
CTV News with Jackie Scantlebury.
Good afternoon. The Crow's Nest Pass Ratepayers Association met with municipal councillors today, handing over a list of concerns, including higher fees, lost business opportunities, and a plan that the association says will kill many local volunteer organizations. At the same time, the municipality is launching an investigation into the discovery of fireworks being stored in a fire hall against federal regulations. As Terry Boat reports, these were the latest developments in what has become an uproar over the dismissal of the Blairmore fire chief.
The Thanksgiving weekend may have been a nice break for most residents of the Crow's Nest Pass, but it's done little to end the growing unrest with City Council and the administration.
I think somebody is a little power hungry, and maybe it's time they went.
Well, it seems like they can do what they want, and it seems like the people don't have no say. To me, that's not right.
Firefighters' issue definitely brought it to a head. There's no doubt about it.
Bill Kovac is president of the Crow's Nest Pass Ratepayers Association. His group is seeking answers to a long list of controversial changes, including some new bylaws and fee increases facing local businesses. They're also concerned about changes to the structure of many volunteer organizations, including the 4 local fire departments.
Of course, we're upset about it because I think the Crow's Nest Pass or any small community is built on volunteerism. And whether it's our swimming pool, our ski hill, firefighters, our heritage, it's all volunteer societies that raise money and build parks and do things in this community to make it a better place to live. And we think that's being jeopardized, and the community is very, very upset about it.
So far, the economy is really hard for us.
Winnie Yip says many of her customers would like to see the mayor and council removed from office. The Ratepayers Association is calling for something a little less drastic. They say if council isn't prepared to back down on some of their proposed changes, then the provincial government should intervene. While all of this is happening, the municipality has been meeting with the volunteer firefighters, handing out termination notices to those who handed in their pagers and explaining the process they'll have to go through in order to be rehired when this is all settled. Terry Vogt, CTV News in the Crow's Nest Pass.
Meanwhile, the municipality is investigating the discovery of 200 kilograms of fireworks in one of their fire halls. The administration says keeping the fireworks on municipal property was in contravention of federal regulations around storage and handling of such materials. Officials declined an on-camera interview today. The suspended chief of the Piikani First Nation did not return to work today as expected, but it wasn't because of any political differences. It was because of a death in the family. Piikani Chief Gail Strikes with a Gun was suspended for 30 days without pay by band council for improper conduct and conflict of interest. Strikes with a Gun went to court in an unsuccessful bid to have the suspension overturned. This morning, the band council held its first regular meeting since the end of the chief's suspension Friday. No word when the chief will return to work. Dory Rossiter joins us now. And Dory, we take a bit of a temperature hit tomorrow, but then after that, back to the high teens for the weekend.
Yeah, and some people say the timing on this is really suspicious, that the work week is cold and then it's really nice on the weekend. So, yeah, it's just the luck of the draw, though. But you're right, we are looking at single-digit value temperatures tomorrow and then moving up to temperatures in the high teens by the weekend. I'll have all the details coming up in a couple of minutes.
Thank you, Dory. Well, food safety inspectors continue to comb through the XL beef plant in Brooks. They're checking to see if it's safe for the slaughterhouse to reopen. XL says it's ready to start processing meat again a week and a half after the Canadian Food Inspection Agency shut them down. Bridget Brown has more from Brooks.
For the first time since September 27th, there is a shift of slaughterhouse workers inside that XL plant. And it's also kind of difficult to tell because the sky is so gray, but there's white smoke billowing from the plant as well. There's action in there because the workers are trying to show the CFIA inspectors that they're ready to go. They have met all of their requirements and they're ready to reopen. XL executives have asked the government for permission to get its license back and get up and running again. And the CFIA inspectors will have to go through and ensure that all of those corrective action requests that we heard about last week, all of those problems have now been addressed. And some of those problems we heard about, the main concern, of course, were around the E. coli plan, the reporting and prevention plan. Of course, XL always had one, but there was evidence that it wasn't always properly implementing it. So the inspectors will be looking for that. And then when they went in to look at that plan, they also found other problems, foul smells emitting from drains, sanitation fluids dripping right onto the beef. There were other problems like workers not wearing beard nets and a whole list of other complaints. Inspectors will be looking for that today. So the CFIA has said they don't know when they'll be ready to allow the plant to open or if they'll be ready to allow the plant to open. Right now, they're just going in and looking around. Meanwhile, other cases of E. coli have emerged across the country, including one in BC over the weekend, and other countries, the United States and Hong Kong, have stepped up their scrutiny of Canadian meat products. So, of course, lots at stake here as the CFIA inspectors are combing through that plant behind me as we speak.
Okay, thank you, Bridget. Now, the number of illnesses linked to beef from the XL plant stands at 11 people from 4 provinces. The latest are in Quebec and BC, as Bridget mentioned. The Quebec victim was rushed to hospital in an ambulance. Doctors feared that they'd have to remove his intestines. In Nanaimo, a man got sick after eating recalled beef multiple times in mid-September. He was hospitalized but has since recovered. The CFIA now says 20 countries received beef from XL Foods during the E. coli scare. Efforts are underway to recall that meat, but it may be too late.
Our understanding now is that those products have all been identified. We have our hands wrapped around them, so to speak, and they're in the process of being brought back or disposed.
There are now more than 2,000 recalled beef products from XL Foods. A coroner's inquest is now underway into the in-custody death of Colin Kohalik. The 36-year-old was arrested on Christmas Eve in 2010 under investigation for domestic violence in Cranbrook. He was taken back to the Cranbrook RCMP detachment without incident. When a guard checked on Kohalik by a closed-circuit camera, he noticed that he was standing motionless. When the guard checked the cells, he found Kohalik bound to the bars by his own T-shirt. The guard performed CPR and called an ambulance. Kohalik died in Kelowna Hospital after several days on life support. Coroner Chico Newell will preside over the inquest. The hearing is not to determine legal responsibility, but the jury may make some recommendations aimed at preventing deaths under similar circumstances in the future. Well, in an unusual twist, officers are investigating both an assault and allegations of poaching in the Vulcan area. A man told Vulcan RCMP that he was confronted and assaulted by 2 men Sunday who believed that he was poaching fish at the Travers Reservoir in Vulcan County. While Vulcan RCMP investigate the alleged assault, Alberta Fish and Wildlife is looking into the poaching incident. Alberta's finance minister was in Lethbridge today talking to locals about the 2013 provincial budget. Doug Horner was at a public open house this afternoon where residents shared their priorities for next year's provincial budget. Horner says it's important to focus on provincial-wide issues like healthcare and education and to hear about local concerns as well. He says many Albertans have been talking about infrastructure needed for a growing province.
Any time that you go out and you talk to Albertans, you should not be criticized as a member of the Legislative Assembly for going out and talking to Albertans. That's the job. And I think from a governance perspective, our Premier has made it very clear that we are a government for all Albertans. All Albertans have a say in the building blocks of what our next budget will be.
And to have your say in the budget, you can complete an online survey as well. The province will soon have a budget app for smartphones that you can download. Students in Holy Spirit schools were off today, but it was a learning day for teachers. Staff of the Catholic School Board were entertained by Amplified, a band made up of students at St. Francis Junior High, before listening to the keynote speaker. The Professional Development Day focused on engaging all learners by valuing diversity and community. The event also marks the school board's launch of a 3-year inclusive education plan.
And so today we've got people within the system and from outside the system talking about how we better engage our students as learners instead of teaching them the answer, really teaching them how to learn to get the answer. And that's a big shift in education today.
And the day was for everyone employed at the Holy Spirit School District. Officials say all staff, from teachers to caretakers, are responsible for the children in their schools. The County of Lethbridge recently held its 6th annual Sustainable Farm Tour. It's a chance for producers, government, and industry to learn more about some of the beneficial management practices in southern Alberta. We have more in tonight's report from Farm TV.
The tour visited 2 farms that have installed liquid manure separators.
What it's doing is composting that solid manure that's coming out of the solid liquid separator. It's just to try and help deal with some of the biologicals that are in that solid manure.
A website was visited later in the morning.
Well, we visited the website today. It's the Watershed Evaluation of Beneficial Management Practices. And basically there we're evaluating BMP's beneficial management practices that we put on the landscape to evaluate. We looked at some fenced exclusion riparian area. We also looked at an area that has no fencing on it. And what we did there was try to compare what's better between the two. So the fenced area, it has a lot of plant material built up on it, a lot of good structure to hold the river banks together. In the unfenced area, it's very degraded. You don't have the plant material to hold everything together, to hold the stream or the riverbank together. That's the key thing there.
While the tour was there, a fish survey was taking place. The last stop that morning was a visit to a feedlot.
And the feedlot is just a feedlot that applied for Growing Forward funding to help pay for a liner for their catch basin. So their catch basin is situated in an area that's really high, a high water table there. And with that high water table, if you don't have that liner there, there can be communication between the nutrient that's in that catch basin and the groundwater.
Farm TV is brought to you by DA Building Systems.
And now time to look at the markets, where the loonie was one of the few things to close on an up note.